Yes.
Am I
Good
starting?
evening, and welcome to a very special, very late, very fatigued.
This seems like
Don't
like
read your
it's like
reviews special.
late night radio. Like, oh,
That's what I
hey,
said. It's gonna be like
welcome.
Never Radio.
Yeah.
Hey, all
God,
you
I'm so
late
tired.
nights.
It's
Sure, the
currently-
voices are just for the people upstairs, though. That's what every late night radio show is.
Oh yeah, true. You're peaking a little bit, but that's fine. We can work that out.
Currently 4
Um,
a.m. We've just got back from a double bill of Infinity War and
Well, we say
Endgame.
just got back, you had to run and get the microphone cable, didn't you?
Yeah. My bad. I forgot it. But yes, we just saw Endgame. We are going to try and crank this out as quickly and as efficiently as we can, so we can beat all the big cats. We're not going to. They
And
probably
so you
have
can
their
go to bed.
Yes, and go to
If you
bed.
haven't seen Endgame, just don't watch this.
Just don't watch.
Unless
this.
you want to be spoiled, then watch it, because we will spoil everything.
Yeah, most likely. We'll be like, we won't spoil anything, and we'll just spoil everything anyway. So before we go any further, we would like to start with a quick foreword and an in memoriam to the poor souls who showed up to the cinema, into our screening, and said people were sat in their seats, only to discover they'd showed up 12 hours too early for their screening.
I'm not sure how they even managed to do it.
I imagine
Did they just leave in the
There
end?
were about 7 of them, and I think they all had to leave, yeah.
Oh no!
that's dark, man.
No, I bet
That
you
was
they.
fine.
I bet you they swapped their tickets somewhere.
Yeah,
Um,
I was just
so-
throwing it in your face because you were saying stuff.
Oh, right.
So we're just gonna start off. We'll go around and just have a quick 1 minute on everyone of just standout feelings of the film. So,
So yeah,
do
well,
you want to go first, James?
No, I think it should be you.
Why?
Because I feel like that's the right thing to do.
Okay.
And this film had a beautiful woman supporting scene. And I
We'll-
want your intake on it
We'll
immediately.
get to that.
Yeah, but no. This is a more you thing. You know my feelings on Marvel, and although I do enjoy it, I feel like you're more of a fan, so you should open it.
I don't know. It was. It's just like not like. I don't know if anyone else is going to agree with me. Like, it's just not anything like any other Marvel film. Like, not in a good or bad way, really. It's just like nothing like any of the others. Obviously, I really enjoyed it. The difference of when I came out of this and Infinity War. Infinity War, I absolutely hated the first time I saw it. And this one, I'm all positive, I think. So, yeah.
I mean, it ended on a very high note.
Yeah.
As high as it can go,
Well, yeah.
which we will get into.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if I enjoyed it more because most of the things I predicted, that's what happened in it. Like, a lot of the things I said would happen did happen, so I was like,
But
oh.
would you say that would be a predictable movie, though? If that makes sense.
No, just I'm good at being psychic, I guess.
I imagine it's the classic, like, it's the educated guess. Like you've studied the craft.
Well, yeah, I think it's a lot of things that I wanted to happen more than things I
Okay.
thought would happen. Like Captain America's end. That's what I've always said. Even like years and years ago, I'm like, if it ever ends, what if it ends? Then that's how he needs to go out because there's no other way really.
Yeah. Cool.
Alex,
Yeah, I thought it was pretty good.
you can hold it to your face.
Well, I thought I was peeking earlier,
That's
so...
sorry. Yeah.
No, I don't think that was you. I think it was just from all the clapping and all the screaming.
Oh, fair enough then. Well, out of all of them, this is probably just like coming straight out of the thing. I really liked it. I felt like it was better than Infinity War, and I thought that was like the best of them.
Yeah.
Probably purely because of like Thanos and the fact that he's a strong one, and just like the time hopping thing was just great. As much as I am not a huge fan of fan service, a lot of the fan service in this, you know, like time traveling back to like the original Avengers and like the Thor: The Dark World, which is probably one of the weaker films, and then like time traveling back to it and being like, oh man, I'm getting all misty eyed over Thor: The Dark World, and like, just you know, it was fun. There's probably like some issues with it that I didn't see watching it this time around, but like the whole time I was like, this is crazy. Like I was like just sort of thinking about it in my head, just like, is this like the best film ever? And I feel like that's pretty lofty, and I've just watched it, and it's you know a bit over the top to just go yeah, but like just all of the stuff that happened in it was pretty sick. I quite liked it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Highly pleasing
that
for
was
fans,
beautiful.
I would say.
Mm.
Yes.
Right. Okay. Here's the thing. I'm
He's
going
gonna
to
start.
open this. No, I'm going to open this with
Right,
saying
James
that
hates
was,
Disney. He hates corporations.
I don't hate
Fuck the
corporations.
police.
I
Going
do
straight
just
from
put
it.
under the thumb. No. My problems with Disney are not what my problems with Marvel are, and I'm gonna stress this right now. This was a great film. This was a brilliant film. If you haven't seen the film, you should see this film. There is a but, because there's always going to be a but. Because
America's greatest but.
America's greatest but.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was some. That was pure fan service. That whole little section. No. Here's the thing. I literally was struggling to get through that first third. It was so confused. It didn't know what kind of film it wanted to be, because you had this whole kind of setup of, oh, this is all really serious. We're coming out of a very serious movie, and then it was just, we need to make everyone funny, and it was just not working for me.
I got told off for laughing at the wrong point though. And it was like the opening part with Jeremy Renner, and it, his daughter's disappeared. He's like, "Hey, where you gone?" And then the rest of his family, I was just like,
I do think it's quite funny in that
so
scene.
just like, shh.
He was dog whistling his children. I was like, is that a normal occurrence?
Yeah, it was pretty. Yeah, that bit was fun. It was just obviously the whole what happened to everybody, and it's just they made the Hulk the really funny guy, but then 3 seconds later they tried to make Thor the really funny guy, and then they tried to bring it back to Ant-Man being a really funny guy.
You say that, but
they've always had their
you would
humour.
know this if you've seen Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Okay.
No, I'm just kidding.
Good
No,
for
but
them.
you say that, but that's what those characters have become. You're telling me that wasn't Thor and Hulk the entire way through Ragnarok, and in Ant-Man and Ant-Man and the Wasp and Civil War, that's what Ant-Man
Yeah,
is.
but it's like
So
the whole scene, every single scene was just flip-flopping those characters between, oh, it's a really serious moment, and then it's a really funny moment. It's like they couldn't decide what they wanted them to be for that moment.
I think yes and no.
It can't hear you yet, but we'll get to that. It's literally, I'm sorry. But no. So that's the thing. I didn't like the first part. I was a bit like, this just seems really confused. It's almost like they just didn't know how to start it. And then we got to the second part, which obviously they started time travelling. Not big on the time travelling, but as you said, it was cool to see the original Avengers. And as you said, I hate Thor: The Dark World, but even I was a bit like...
And it worked. I don't think it was too... It wasn't too, typical time travel-y either. They did kind of
It's like
interesting...
Back to the Future, they reference that all the time, but now that I think about it, Back to the Future 2 has a lot of that stuff, where they go back to their first movie and they're like, here's them in the background, there's stuff that's already going on. And it's that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It was all very cleverly done, and I think the film really just crescendo to the maximum in that final act. It was a great fight. It was all the fan service you could ever want in any film ever. You're not going to see anything like that again for a very long time.
I think you have this problem with a lot of films, and it might just be with films at the minute where the first act or even the first and second act aren't very good, and then the third act just takes over and
I think that's
makes
just the
it
kind of
forgettable.
the last couple of films we've seen.
Yeah.
But I get what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was like, yes, here we go. And I just wasn't into it, and I was like, oh no, do I hate this film? But it was a great film. I just wasn't sold on that first bit. I feel like it just didn't know how to set
To be
itself
honest,
up.
I don't remember the first hour.
I mean,
I
I
don't know what that says.
That's my thing. But yeah, that's my point. And of course, hello to Nick, Marvel's greatest fan.
I mean, if you're looking for my verdict on the entire film, I mean, I fucking loved it. Big surprise there.
Okay,
I think, to be honest with you, I do agree with what you said. I mean, it's difficult to obviously come out of a film and then look at it objectively when you've just kind of seen it and you've been you're hyped for it. But I think it is definitely one of the best ones that they've made.
Definitely.
I think with your point with the initial opening, I think, like you were saying, with the characters who were funny, it's not like it was an unexpected turn. They were funny because they have been funny for a while. But I think as well with the sour notes, the kind of the depressing angles of it, one thing I did like about it was that it didn't just gloss over them. It didn't just go straight into, right, okay, we've got to go kill Thanos now, because it actually kind of focused on their grief and their personal loss through that, and that kind of it really helped cement the characters and who they like. Especially there's that particular scene where Cap's arguing with Iron Man's having a go at Cap when he's been found and he's all skin and bones.
He looked rough.
Yeah,
he looked like Downey Jr. when he was a crackhead. He looked bad.
But stuff like that I really liked about it, and I don't think Tonal Shift felt too jarring, because I think you wouldn't have wanted the first hour where it was just complete you know, everything's
No,
depressing.
no,
everything's like,
I do agree because they couldn't just.
otherwise, you're just going to turn off, aren't you? Because
I think what it is, I think it's because obviously we went straight from Infinity War into Endgame. Right, thank you. I'll just pop that back now.
do you have more points to make?
That's fine. We've got time. It's fine. We've only been going for 10 minutes. We've still got another 20, 30. No. All it was is I think it's really jarring from concept of going straight from Infinity War to Endgame. I imagine if we say, we watch Endgame again in however many months it is until it comes out again, like I'll see it differently. But it's because also we've gone straight from everything's fucked to
Everything's okay.
everything's really
that's probably why. Yeah.
Very quickly, like building on that point, I kind of get it more now when they say they're not part 1 and part 2, because they are very different films when you look at it. I mean,
yeah, but
they
like,
are.
But this is
very,
this is the
very
thing
different
that we've been having this conversation about for so long. It's the fact of like they are a part 1 and part 2. They are two halves of a story. They're different films.
Because there's no way there's no Endgame without Infinity War. I know you say that about a lot of films, but like some Marvel films you can just step in.
They complement each other.
You can
they're
some
very
Marvel
much-
films you can just step in. Having seen none of the films, you couldn't like.
No.
There's no way you.
This
don't know anything.
this was the thing that I sort of like I respect, but I also sort of hate about how Marvel make their films, which is obviously this was a film that literally had, as you just said, if you've never seen any others, you would have had no clue what just happened.
It's just under the assumption that everybody knows everything about all the universe.
But that's one of the film's biggest strengths at the same time, because one of my favourite parts of the film was when they went back to the initial Avengers, and then you saw that scene where they cornered Loki. Then suddenly you saw what happened afterwards.
Yeah, I did that.
And I really like that. I really like the kind of like, because it's something that you don't really need answer, but you look at it thinking, what? Why didn't I want this answer? This is great. It was really well done. Really well done. And what happened to Loki?
He's dead.
No,
He's dead.
I don't think
No, they're gonna. I mean, he's dead, but like they're gonna use the whole him taking Tesseract, and now that's what's gonna kick off that TV show that they're gonna be doing on Disney Plus.
Because that's the alternate universe, I imagine, version
Yeah.
of him, where he's gone
He's
off
now,
with the
yeah, he's
Tesseract
now
and he's
as
having his own fun Loki
the
ventures.
Sorcerer Supreme said, like it's now splintered off into its own universe because it's not returning to its point in time.
but that was the thing I was a little bit upset about. Not in like any way, but I was just like, I just want to see more Loki.
People have to die.
Yeah, I know.
So on the subject of people dying, I think a real big talking point is that was as much spoiler free as you're going to get. If you're still here,
I mean,
sorry, G.
No, we didn't hold back on the spoilers.
No.
Yeah. Okay. So here's the thing. That was a really interesting choice for people then not planning on bringing back.
Yeah, honestly, I wasn't considering Black Widow at all. Maybe,
No.
I was considering maybe her not like leaving, but dying was just kind of like a bit. I don't know. It just wasn't.
That actually hit me in the nerve, man. I didn't want Clint to die, but I felt like it was kind of right if he did, because it was like, oh, he's doing it for his family, you know what I mean? He's got to, but then when Natasha did it, I was like, oh man, that's a bummer. You were never truly saw your potential in this series.
You could completely see it coming though when they said, "Oh yeah, those two they're going to form me." It's like, "Oh, great,
Someone's out
One of them
Yeah,
is
like
gonna die.
didn't. I suppose that nobody knew to tell them. Oh yeah, one of you's gonna have to.
No, the
like,
only person that understood it was Nebula, but obviously at that point, but even she didn't really understand what had happened. I don't think they understood that you had to literally kill your own mate to get the stone. I think at that point they would have just been like, let's just leave it there for now. But yeah, so obviously Black Widow unfortunately made a grand exit. Obviously the big one being Iron Man, which it's not that I didn't see it coming. It's just I was shocked that they actually did it, because it's that classic like, oh, we'll do this, but like they're not going to, but
no,
they did.
I always knew it would, because I just knew the way they were going to go of like just narratively they started with him, so they're going to end with him in some sort of way of him like
Good point.
kicking it off and like closing it in such a way. And the only way you could do that is like a sacrifice
Big
or him to
death.
die. So he did that basically.
Yeah, he did both. He did a sacrifice and a big die.
A big die.
Obviously, yeah, you've got a few characters that aren't coming back. Obviously, well, I say Loki again. The Loki that we know is not coming back.
Vision's dead.
No mention of
Vision's
Vision.
fucking dead. Like,
Or literally every character basically got what they what they wanted. And
They deserve.
I know.
They got what
I
they
know.
deserve.
No, I know. Even the people that died, like Tony, obviously, it's just part of his like character of him, like
You wanna run
hero
with
and
Steve?
sacrifice and all that.
Sure.
And like Natasha dying was not her purpose, but she was thought that she needed to like repent, kind of.
Yeah.
Whereas, and then everyone else got back with their family. Steve, I don't want to talk about it because I was really sad.
Which is why I've handed it over to Nick
Yeah,
and
Steve-
Alex. There you go. Let's get
Steve,
some.
like
Okay.
obviously is back in the in his own time. Wanda, just I guess, sorry,
Fuck Wanda.
sorry, you ain't got your boyfriend
But then
anymore.
how are
More
they
convex cranium, man.
How are they going to do that
Oh,
TV?
Vision.
They've got that TV show that's coming out, and they want WandaVision.
Oh, it'd be a prequel of some
But how
sort.
Well, it'd be
they-
alternate universe, won't it? Same as Loki, I imagine. Because, I mean, if you think about it, also Guardians of the Galaxy, because Gamora, I imagine, has gone back to her own timeline, and that timeline is going to be one without Thanos, isn't it? Because he's gone to the main line and it's
I don't
been
think she
killed
has-
off.
I don't think
So-
she has gone back because you saw Star-Lord searching for her, didn't you, later on? I think she stayed in that.
Yeah, I think she's
Yeah,
done a
surely
run up.
she's in the plus 5 years now timeline.
Yeah, so I think
thought
it went
she might
into-
have travelled.
Unless,
No,
unless,
no.
unless
I
she
don't know
took-
how they would because it was with
Just because she
the
wasn't on, like, the ship with
And
them.
unless
Because
they took
obviously
Cap's time
Thanos
machine.
destroyed the
quantum realm
the Lang
thing. So
Van,
yeah,
That's true.
So obviously the only way we're going to roll with the one they make later. Yeah, I think she's just out. I think that's what Guardians of the Galaxy 3 is going to be based on. I think it's going to be based on them trying to find Gamora to try and bring her back into the fold.
One thing I am very happy about is that Thor's joining the Guardians by the looks of things, and if they put that in Volume 3, that will be...
Dude,
So
I really
good.
hope he loses that way because I'm just not vibing with Fat Thor.
Speaking
thick
of,
Thor.
like, my next
Thick
question
Thor.
was going to be, what do people think of Thor?
I thought you were going to say Alex.
It was really funny when you first saw him. It was kind of like, oh shit, Thor, man, you let yourself go. But then when like it's later on and he's got his armor on and you can see he's still fat, it just reminded me of Gimli in Lord of the Rings. And I'm like, this is not what I want. You are a man, not a dwarf.
It's basically Chris Hemsworth just decided to be just live the Australian and be every white surfer dude in Australia ever.
Word.
Oh my god, just can we talk about Paul was playing Fortnite and he's like I don't know why it's like every 12-year-old on Xbox Live.
Yeah, cool.
I thought he was called something like New Master 69 or something and he's like, tell him please.
Thank you. Oh. No real scenes of him in the big fight though. But go on, I can see you're itching.
No.
He was in the big fight?
He was in the big fight, but like he got the big. You know when they all came through the portals, they were all returned to the world, which I was kind of like, oh, they've done the snap, but everyone's back, but no one's shown up yet. I was like, here we go.
I think the only thing I can remember from Thor, that particular big fight after the portals came in, was when he switched hammers with Chris.
Yeah.
Chris.
No, you hit the small one. Chris and Chris. Swap hands.
I wish I had said this like somewhere publicly, but I have said it to people. I've always said that at some point that Cap's gonna lift Mjolnir because it was just so obvious. Obviously they alluded to it in like Age of Ultron, but I think that was like a joke, and then they were like, oh no,
Yeah.
he can in the comics, so we'll just let him do it in the film, which was like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
You got any good big talking points?
Yeah, I guess we'll never find out if, Black Widow could lift, because I suppose she can use it, can't she, in the comics?
I think
In the
I think,
comics,
I think
Something like that.
Everybody's
I
held
think,
it
yeah,
at one
I think
point.
everyone can at some point, but
Yeah.
she's also a woman.
Or whamming, as they refer
Oh.
to.
Like,
Okay, so this is something that I thought was really interesting to bring up. So there is an interesting scene. So obviously we'll set the scene for them. They're trying to get the we'll call the Stark Gauntlet because obviously it's basically they've used part of the Iron Man armor to basically make an Infinity Gauntlet. So they're trying to get the Stark Gauntlet into the Lang van to send it into its own timelines.
Lang man, I love that.
Well, it is. It's the van that
I
runs
know,
to Scotland.
I like
It's the
that.
Lang van. And basically, Carol Danvers is about to take it there, and like the whole army is suddenly divulging on this one character. Even though she could have done it herself, they obviously bring all the female characters together for this one scene, except for Black Widow, because she did.
She did.
She really did. Damn, man, she went out hard. But yeah, now this was clearly, obviously, some form of fan service to all the female fans. I imagine it may even lead up to some team up movies because you know they've got Birds of Prey coming out,
Yeah.
so now they need to be like, right, we need to make 16 movies that all connect to each other to beat this one movie.
And look, I think honestly that moment would have been fine, but they already did try to do that in Infinity War,
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
and it's kind of like,
But the person that was trying to like kill the shit out of them was a woman as well.
Yeah.
yeah. And I think the problem with the one in this film is basically. It would have been fine if it was like a realistic thing. And I'm saying that it's a superhero movie, but the fact it's Captain Marvel, she could do it on her own, and every other person apart from Scarlet Witch they've got their like little knives. It's like hand-to-hand combat. It's like, what are they going to do? Like, what are they actually going to do?
It's like you can almost picture the scene because they're all kind of like. If it's all the women in that entire army, they're kind of like, oh, Captain Marvel's over there. Should we go over there? What about this guy? Oh no, it's fine. We'll go over there. We'll look cool over there. So they all just happen to be in that one area. That
specifically.
Yeah, exactly. Just like, oh, it'd be really cool if us women got together as a group and we just attacked Thanos. Yeah, but what about over there? It's fine. I'll go over here.
I mean, it does help that there's like a million fucking characters in like the MCU that are just that are non-expendable that you can just have fighting everyone else. But yeah, it was just. I mean, that I think that last fight scene is going to be something that people are going to be talking about cinema-wise for a very long time.
Beats the airport scene.
I mean,
Yeah.
I don't remember much about the airport scene, if I'm honest. Like, I remember it being good, but obviously like, I haven't seen Civil War since like it came out because you know I'm a one and done guy.
Just off the top of my head, I'm just thinking of any qualms that I have with the film. Like, so I am happy with the way that it all ended with Captain America.
Yeah.
Like, that's a good arc for him to have gone off. Like, that's all perfect. I don't really like the way they ended that with him and Bucky, because pretty much the last how many films, the whole all of Steve's arc's been like about Bucky getting back to him, getting him back to like thing, and then he just kind of fucks him off.
Well,
I guess you could look at it as that like Steve has finally decided that it's time to be Steve Rogers rather than Captain America, because you know.
It's not Steve without Bucky.
Yeah, I know. Look, I bet she reads fanfic about it.
yeah, I was literally about to say
I've honestly never read Steve and Bucky fanfiction because they put it in the film.
Shit.
No, I haven't. I don't.
True. I just think it's that. I just think that like his whole arc about him trying to save Bucky and stuff like that is him being Captain America, and thinking that moment he was like, no, I need to be Steve now for someone else rather than Bucky. And besides, he's fine. He's getting a TV show with the new Captain America.
But it's also a bit of a kick in the teeth as well. That like I do like Sam Wilson, but he's like, oh yeah, you can have the shield, and it's like, oh yeah, not my mate who we've been through like wars and shit. But that's fine. Go on.
The one thing that is like starting to bug me now is because we know it's a kind of continuity thing and a logic thing, and I feel like you may agree with it. Hey,
Is this the year thing?
the year thing, but also they've got Spider-Man: Far From Home coming out, right?
Mm-hmm.
With what looks to be all of like the characters that were from that high school. So specifically, Peter Parker, MJ, Ned, and Flash were the only ones that I really sort of recognised from that group. All happen to be dusted and are all still like the same, and yet it's 5 years later. So what, are they all specifically in that class jumping 5 years later, or is it the alternate timeline Peter Parker?
I guess we don't know until we find out. We don't know until we find out.
As we were saying, because literally, I think it was you that brought it up, or you?
Yeah.
We were literally saying in our seats, like, we all know about the year consistency issue from the first one. I think when it comes to the years in these films, you just have to just sort of take it with a
But
pinch
they've
of salt.
established that there's like a jump, and so the same class exactly, or was it just the entirety of Midtown High?
Well,
that it's been,
maybe. Okay, here's a retcon for you. Disney are good for those. They're going to say, oh, because so many people were dusted, we're just going to redo a whole class for you, and you're not going to age because no one's actually going to bring that up. Because we're going to have Spider-Man move very quickly in a shot.
Do you know what
Whoa.
it is? Do you know what it is? It's just Sony. Sony's just the fuck up. If you look at it, I mean, it's just the Spider-Man films.
I mean, this is gonna. You make a good point, because this is gonna mess up a lot of continuity in a lot of films, because like half the people dusted, half didn't, and then they're all off the whack.
And none of this stuff ever happens in the Netflix TV shows. I wanted just to, in the middle of the
yeah,
last
man.
season of Daredevil, just somebody to fade away.
But that's the question now. Are they still canon? Because like
No.
it's alluded to that they are canon. And there's like bits and bobs here and there that like say that it definitely 100% is in canon, but is it? Because like I think they're trying to distance themselves because they're two separate companies, aren't they?
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, obviously they've cancelled all of them now. None of them exist anymore. I think the only thing that I held out with a little hope for was somebody that works for Disney Marvel was like, there's potential to bring John Bernthal. I can't say his last name at this hour.
Shane.
Yeah, Shane from The Walking Dead.
Shane.
Oh, but yeah. Apparently they are leaving the door open to bring him in as the Punisher at some point if they need to.
The thing that they have is that they have to leave a gap of the way that their contracts for it is that they have to leave a gap of the last series being on Netflix to it being on their Disney Plus thing. So it's likely that they'll come back, but it'll take I can't remember whether it was 2 years or 5 years. I feel like it's 2.
Well, I mean,
and that'll be it.
Yeah.
And then maybe we'll see some crossover and continuity, because if they're bringing the film characters like Loki, like Captain Falcon, that sort of thing.
Captain Falcon.
Captain Falcon, which he is now, and he can do a Falcon punch. If they're bringing them onto the TV, what's to say that they can't have, Daredevil and then have like Spider-Man hang out with him, because that, they're kind of pally.
Well, obviously, we may get Team Red from that. Obviously, just obviously Daredevil, Deadpool, Spider-Man. I think realistically, if you're looking at the shows and you see anything that's connected to the films at this point, it's just fan service, because obviously it's all just.
I think now though, because there's two separate show lots, isn't there? You've got the Netflix ones, and then you have the ABC ones like Agent Carter and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And I think that ABC lot is 100% canon, because this film's confirmed it when James Darcy turned up as Jarvis. And I think, as far as I'm aware, he's the first person from a TV show who originated from a Marvel TV show to appear in a Marvel MCU film.
Yeah, I don't think, because none of not Fitzsimmons or anything hasn't been in any of them, I don't think.
If they were going to get anybody from those, they'd be Coulson coming back, but he started in the film, or Quake.
Yeah.
Who's that? Is that
Daisy Jones.
Yeah.
is that the guy from who's the guy from Until Dawn?
No, that's Ward. Ward's dead.
That's Rami Malek, isn't it?
No.
Also,
Right.
Spoilers for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. from like 5 years ago.
To be fair, you literally just said Agent Carter, and I was like, oh my god, that was a thing. But I think I'm
Very good.
It's one of them under the radar things. But
I'm struggling with just TV these days. Like, I got through Star Trek Discovery and kind of think, you know what? It's kind of cool. No idea why they ended it the way they did, and apparently there's another season coming, but fuck knows, we'll move on for it. It's not the time or the place.
Talk about that.
I'm trying to get through Line of Duty at the moment. That's been really good.
did anyone? Sorry, were you going to make a point?
I was going to, but if you've got one, that's
No, I was just going to open the original question, but go ahead.
No, go.
I was saying, did anyone have any specific, just like fangirl moments that you want to bring up and talk about?
The entire second act. Third act.
Specific fangirl moments.
Okay, I would like to
have a
say,
couple.
even though you could see that he was fat, and that was really it's really jarring, because obviously we've known all of these people to basically put themselves through hell to make sure that they have the superhero physique. I mean, obviously Hugh Jackman gave up being Wolverine because he was like, I can no longer continue being this ripped at my age. So it was very jarring to see Chris Hemsworth in what I assume is like a bodysuit. But it was very cool to see him dual wield for a few seconds. If only
That was good, yeah.
Obviously, Captain actually picking up the hammer.
I knew it. Like as soon as that hammer touched the ground, I was like, Captain.
I was like, that's either Vision or Captain. I was like, and I think I know which one it is.
Yeah. I loved all of Cap's scenes in the time travel. So when he was fighting himself, he's basically just like, don't use my lines on me. Don't talk to me like that, me. And
he's become so self-aware.
And the elevator scene, everyone was like, oh, and then just with a cheeky hair hydra. I love that.
That was good, yeah. I don't, again, it didn't deserve a clap.
Oh, no. Dear people of the internet or humans.
Dear white people. like
Unless
the
you're in
TV
a
show.
cinema screen with people who are actually in the film or directed the film or made the film, you don't need to clap. No one's there. I know you're excited, but just sit on your hands if you're so desperate to clap. It's like I can't hear what's being said in the film.
Yeah,
And don't do it when the aeroplane lands either. There are several moments not to clap for things.
You would clap the bus driver.
Yeah, I get I understand that obviously it's kind of like an exciting situation to be in all midnight. Everyone's got to stay up late. Mum hasn't sent them to bed yet. But it is just like.
But the problem was, people were laughing so loud, I couldn't hear dialogue. The one bit I didn't get. So, another back in time, it's like the start of Guardians, where it's like Peter Quill dancing to Come and Get Your Love. It's like, that scene's in Guardians of the Galaxy. Did you hear that guy cackling so loud? I'm like, you've seen that presumably you've seen that film. It wasn't that funny. It wasn't like
the same thing with like every film I go to see, and like the part that's in like the trailer, like the sizzle reel, where you've seen it like 100 times in front of every other Marvel film that you've seen, and people are like, but if you're here at a midnight launch, you've seen that already, and it's not, and usually by that point it's not that great.
Yeah, and I will have to say, I think every scene that was in the trailers was in the film. There was no like, I don't really feel like
They
there
were
was.
just altered, I think.
they were super. They did. I would say they did a very, very good job of making their trailers. Whoever made their trailer,
Yeah.
because none of the scenes were like they clipped it all very well. Half of the people weren't in the shots. They just like edited them out.
I imagine there's probably.
They were the most clippy dialogue ever of Caps when he's like saying, "Oh, to move on," but not us. They basically just flip flop the whole thing. That he
Yeah,
said.
they kind of just changed it all around and stuff like that. Or I imagine they probably did a million different shoots of stuff just to make sure it's all sort of things. You know, the scene where obviously you got the people on the grass and obviously Gwyneth Paltrow comes into shot. I imagine they initially shot that without her, just to be like, if you know, because it's probably a lot quicker and easier just to be like, run there.
But
you stand there.
even the trailers had like 1 or 2 shots from the final act, but like they were incredibly far and few between, and you just wouldn't be able to tell that they were from.
I think that's the only one I could think of was Rocket on War Machine's shoulder, and that's the only kind of one from the final.
Yeah,
I couldn't think
that
of
and obviously
many
Cat
others.
tightening the
Oh, yeah,
shield.
him doing
But the
his
shield
shield.
was full.
And what was it, the Trinity, Thor, Cap, and Iron Man when they were walking towards Thanos in that special look they released when the tickets came out.
Yeah,
Did Thor have long hair then?
You know, he didn't. You can only see his cape.
Okay.
Yeah, no, they did very well in hiding what he becomes.
See, I knew he looked like a filthy hobo because I got spoiled. But like that's why I knew he looked like that.
Oh, speaking of fan service moments for that moment, just Korg and Meek turning up.
I knew it was happening, but I was still so happy that it happened.
They're good I just don't care enough about them for that. Like,
It's just
if they're not going to actually be part of the film, then
I just
I
love
don't see what the
hearing.
excitement
I just
is.
love hearing Taika Waititi's voice because he's just the most hilarious person ever.
He is great. I'm very excited for his next film. Like, that's gonna.
Jojo Rabbit.
Is that the one with? Yeah. That's the one, baby. So we're probably going to start wrapping this up soon. But I think what really is important from right now, and we'll sort of try and probably move this into the end, is just sort of what happens now. Like, because I mean, we were talking about it today, and obviously, with all respect to whatever comes next, aside from something like Far From Home, this would have been perfect had this been the last Marvel movie. But we know it's not. We are far from done here. I say excluding that.
The thing is, they've done it very cleverly where Captain America's basically like gone, and he was like him and Iron Man were main in like keeping the Avengers together. If that makes sense.
Yeah, well, they are the two main figureheads,
Yeah,
aren't they?
because it's like who's gonna like.
Well, obviously, Captain Marvel takes over one of them. Who's the second Civil War between? It's between Captain Marvel and Spider-Man. Isn't
No,
it?
it's Captain Marvel and Iron Man, but
Yeah.
Iron Man's dead.
Oh yeah, that's right. Iron Man 2, whoever that is.
Riri Williams.
That's it.
War Machine.
Well, because that's it, isn't it? 'Cause
Does anyone
obviously-
else find War Machine literally the most interesting character? I feel like they shoehorn him into films way too much.
I found it quite weird because there was a point where I realised it, where they were like watching Quill like sort of like go after the orb thing, and it was him walking around with Nebula, and I'm just like, this is such a strange place to see him in, because he's like, he's just.
I just feel like
Yeah.
he's pushed into a lot of films. Like he's this like favourite character, but I don't know,
Yeah.
anyone's like, wow, I love
He's
War
very
Machine.
much the he's just very much like he's the human conscience within all of it. Because obviously, as normal Avengers, they have seen it all: aliens, mad robot things. But obviously, War Machine has always been the kind of like he's on the outside looking in. He is the human sort of perception that we need for the moment.
Trying to tidy up all the shit
I think
constantly.
his best moment was when he got that amazing plastic surgery in Iron Man 2.
That does look great, to be fair.
What did everybody think of the way they went with Hulk in this film?
Yeah, I'm not. That's what I mean. It's almost like I don't understand why becoming half Hulk, half Bruce
And
makes him really dumb.
But I liked
And
It
his...
like-
didn't make him dumb.
But it did, because it made him really try hardy for some reason. I don't get it, because Bruce wasn't like that. Bruce was this awkward
I
shy
liked-
guy, and I felt like that was lost from him.
I liked his arc in the film. What I was disappointed by was the fact that we were missing Hulk. Because he's not Hulk, he's Bruce Banner as Hulk.
Yeah.
And I feel like I like the
Professor
Thor.
Hulk.
Yeah, I like Thor Ragnarok Hulk, where he's still a separate character. You know, he has tantrums, he gets angry
You
and
got to
stuff.
see a little bit of that with the flashbacks to
Oh,
original
the Hulk
Avengers.
stairs.
Yeah. But I just, yeah,
To
I
me and
just...
shooting halls.
Yeah, I kind of wanted... I wanted a bit more Hulk than I did Bruce. I think the balance was a bit off-key, but, you know, as I say, this was a big film. This must have taken a long...
Which flew by the way.
Yeah, it did go quite quick. Like, well, I just kept being like, I don't know how they're going to fit anything in. I'm like, this has been going for so long, and I feel like we're not there yet. Like,
Yes, it was a long film, and we can all stop talking about that now.
I
don't want to talk about
I was
it.
also very interested in how many people they got back for the film, like even just like tiny roles for like split seconds. Like, what?
Yeah, Natalie Portman
Yeah,
came back
Natalie
for like,
Portman, like-
literally, you saw her face for what, 4 seconds
All of,
before
like-
Rocket date raped her,
So,
essentially.
so there was like Natalie Portman, like Frigga,
Robert Redford.
yeah, all the Shield and Hydra people. I just thought it was like it's impressive, really, to get all these people back after.
I think
A few years.
for each film they had, so Infinity War and Endgame, they had a 400 million budget for each one, so they have the money.
I know,
Oh,
but
yeah.
I know, but like easily these actors, like big actors, could just be like, no.
Yeah, well, it's like obviously Terrence Howard obviously just walked away from
Well, it's
Iron
because
Man.
he's a freak and he's got weird math.
What?
What?
No, he has this thing called Terrenceology where he
Sick.
he literally it's something stupid like he's proving that
1 + 1 is 0, something like
it's
that.
no, it's like
What was 0 + 1?
0 plus 0 is actually 1.
That's it.
It's his thing.
Okay, cool. As a side note, this isn't relative at all, but I recently found out Elizabeth Moss was a Scientologist. Didn't know that until recently.
There you go.
I don't like watching Star Wars films anymore because I just think how Chris Pratt has turned into like a crazy religious boy.
It was very
And he-
strange that it was what I can't even remember what year it was, but it was literally he was just everywhere. He was like a plague.
2014, I think, was when
Yeah.
it, like I'd not heard about him.
Guardians.
Lego
Watched
movie.
the Lego movie,
Yeah,
and then
Lego
suddenly it was
movie
like everywhere.
and Jurassic World.
Yeah, that was like 2015. Yeah, it was a good year for him.
Yeah, jumped straight out of Parks and Recreation,
And
got
he-
ripped, turned his life into a
Now he left.
multi-millionaire.
Him and Anna Faris aren't together. Now he's with that like Jesus-y woman, and they had like a really weird marriage.
You mean
Or
Arnold
engagement.
Schwarzenegger's daughter?
Have you seen?
Is that who it is?
That's Arnold Schwarzenegger's
Have you seen
daughter.
their cultish engagement announcement? It's very weird. Well, we're not here to talk about Chris
No.
Pratt's private affairs.
Yeah, that's
Very
fine.
quickly, one thing I am very happy with is the fact that imagine if Joss Whedon directed this. It just wouldn't be
How
nearly
shit it would
as
be.
good.
Do you know what it would be? That entire the scene of other women that would be the entire film.
Yeah, it's just I've just You're
You're out of touch.
I actually
Or
can think
people
of something
tripping
worse.
over and like landing in their cleavage and stuff like in that.
See, Joss Whedon is a fine director back in the 90s, but now
Back in the day, your boy was
he's
killing it.
just a bit. He's you know.
His first two Avengers was great.
Out of touch as whoever it was singing that, yeah. I just, like, to be fair, the only thing I think could have been worse is if they'd handed over someone like Ryan Johnson, because he would have introduced someone like more being like, she would have been this cool girl that you would have just been out with in school. And so like a genuine man said that in an interview, like a genuine human being.
I think you
was
brought
like,
this up on every single podcast.
it's just because I can't fucking believe that a human being actually said that. Do you know what I mean? This is why I have no joy in life, because people have to ruin it for
I mean,
me.
the only thing that is like making me want to watch a midnight launch of Star Wars again after last time, where I was very tired and was very underwhelmed. The only reason I would do that is to sit here again and watch you rant about it.
In fairness, I mean, we'll make echo the statement. Basically, it's not looking good for my old boy Star Wars, but it looks like that is getting put down like a very ill dog, rather than sort of gracefully going to the farm.
I think we'd regret it slightly if we didn't go to the final. I'm
not going to not see it. It's Star Wars.
No, I mean
but,
the midnight release. I mean, because it's episode 9. It's meant to be the last of the
CBA.
saga.
It's in December, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm on my. Yeah.
He's having his hair washed that day.
Most of it. Oh no, I suddenly have been busy all December and I didn't sit. Ah, that's a shame. I can just go back to watching episode 6. It's fine.
So,
but my closing thoughts are, I mean, this is sort of where I sort of, I do a Steve Rogers and I bid the series farewell. It's not that I'm never going to watch another Marvel film, but I just feel like it's going to be so long until we've built up to something that we've established who the characters are that we need to be following. I'm interested to see what they do with the next Doctor Strange, because obviously I really enjoyed the first Doctor Strange, and I think now that he doesn't have the Time Stone, people... it's the classic, like any hero arc story, when they lose something, people start coming after them, because they're like, oh, you're now weak.
I was surprised Tilda Swinton was in it, actually.
Oh, she's in everything now.
Yeah. Because they showed the back of her head, the first shot, and I was like, oh no, they're not going to do they can't get the actor, so they show like their ear, and you're like, really? But no, actually had her in.
In fairness, I imagine they probably signed her up for this, like...
There was rumours about it for a long time that she was coming back, wasn't there?
Yeah.
So much of this must have been like internal set stuff, because like I've unsubscribed to so many things on Facebook because they're like, look at these set photos, and I'm like, I kind of wish I'd not seen this.
Now I think about it, maybe I did see set photos of Tilda Swinton or something, or am I just I definitely remember seeing the Ant-Man in the original Avengers setting, so we always knew that was going to happen.
Those are the only set photos that they had for Endgame.
Because it was Ant-Man and Iron Man, wasn't it?
And
was
Cap,
just,
I think.
yeah, they were just sort of hanging around, and they had what originally looked like very big discs on their hand, which then turned out to be not very big discs at all.
Big discs.
Well, they were, weren't they? They were literally they were big.
Yeah.
They were a lot bigger than the film made out. They were.
Yeah.
But that's kind of it. It's like looking into anything that Marvel are releasing now is just looking into a yawning chasm of nothing. Like, I don't think anything is jumping.
Part of that is like purposeful as well, because what they did, I think it was before Age of Ultron came out, they basically showed every film they were going to make, and that kind of made every film that you were watching beforehand like super underwhelming. So like Age of Ultron, I remember specifically going through that and being like, well, like it's going, this thing is going to be set up here, this thing's going to be set up here.
Yeah.
And you're like, why do I care about this then? Why do I give a shit? But what they've done is they've essentially, after the film we've just watched, the only thing that you have, I guess, trailers for and something that's set in stone is Spider-Man Far From Home, which is what, 2 months away.
The rest
and then everything else
is
is
just like hearsay, kind of.
Yeah, it's like, oh, we're going to do a Doctor Strange 2, a Black Panther 2, and a Captain Marvel 2. I imagine I don't think they've said anything.
Confirmed Marvel 2, yeah.
Well, then they've done that. But like, I imagine at some point they are going to come out and go, right, you've all watched it by now. Here's what's going to come next. Because otherwise, was it the D23 they just had, or was that specifically Star Wars they just
I
had?
can guarantee
I think it was Star Celebration.
What will either happen is that they'll announce the slate at Comic-Con, or they'll do their own event like they did with Phase 3 back when Age of Ultron, before that came out. But I'm quite excited for the lesser known properties, because I mean, like, stuff like Guardians of the Galaxy, which nobody had any idea about, ended up being fantastic. And I think they've got the Eternals coming up, and then they've got Shang-Chi as well.
I love just the looks that me and James just like, But we were both thinking a different thing
Hey,
when Nick
man.
said Guardians of the Galaxy was great. We were both thinking a different
Hey
thing.
man, I like the Guardians as characters.
Yeah.
I've just got mass beef with that first film.
Interesting to see where it goes now because they've got...
Yeah.
Because it's an odd assortment of people because every film they've changed the cast basically.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna, as I say, I'm out of loyally going to see every single film that comes out. I don't see the point anymore. But like, you know, if it looks, I'm gonna go back to the classic. If I think it looks good, I'm gonna pop on.
I mean,
and
you just
see it.
got like a Limitless card as well, so.
Yeah. But if you want to know something, even though it doesn't cost me anything to go and watch it, I still feel like I want my money back if it's not any good.
Cost you your time.
Yeah, well, that's it, man. And, you know, I ain't made of time. I've got plenty of other terrible movies to watch in the year, like, you know, that Child's Play that looked really good when Mark Hamill was announced, but then I saw Chucky and he looks ridiculous. But that's a film for another time.
Yeah.
I'll be completely honest, as long as they keep making them, I'll keep watching them. So.
And that is why they'll always make
Yeah,
money.
they're just gonna
Yeah, they're
keep
just going to
beating
bleed
this
you
dead
dry.
horse until
Yeah.
it stops spitting out money.
For as long as you consume.
Whatever it takes.
Yeah.
Although, if they put
I
Modok in
get
something,
it. He
that'd
said
be
the
sick.
thing from the he said whatever it takes. If you didn't hear that, it's just like yeah. And I mean, and let's face it. I mean, I know that obviously the main guy Kevin Feige. That's it. I couldn't remember how to say.
I
it.
always
always
think
forget.
of his name as like you know the word segue, not as in like Paul Blart Mall Cop.
Fugway.
No, listen.
Segue.
So it's, you know, like segue as in like to segue the conversation. I've
Yeah.
been seeing it spout everywhere recently, and I didn't know it was spout like Feige, but
Siege,
Feige.
Yeah.
Segue. It's weird.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Kevin Feige. Obviously. I mean, I know we should anything that anyone says in this business take it with a grain of salt.
Together, what on earth you just came up with?
So segue is spelled
I know exactly
It's not confusing.
Kevin Feige obviously, as I say, as I was just saying, you know, you have to take everything these people say with a pinch of salt now. Like, everyone is going to try and make, in a world where no knowledge is safe anymore, like, you have to try and divert everything. But I mean, obviously, his announcement was obviously, they figured out Phase 4 before the deal with Fox closed. So now they don't have any intention of bringing in the Fantastic Four or the X-Men for another 4 or
not
5.
believe them at all.
I mean, I don't particularly care if they do or they don't. I just think, you know, it just depends on if they get the casting right, because you know, it's property that I think it's very hit and miss with what it does.
I feel like that's partly due to the way that they've handled that Fox has handled it, but like they had that trailer in the run up where it was clearly just like, you know, Misty are like, oh, here's all the other X-Men films, and it's finally leading up to this one.
And it's like, oh.
And you're like,
Also, is it just me, or does it just look like the exact same movie as like what they're trying to recreate? Like, it just looks exactly the same as X-Men.
But they don't look any older, as well as the other thing. Like,
I've just noticed that just like Mystique is just getting more and more blue, but like the wrong kind of blue. Well, no, like if you look at her from the first one, she's like a really dark colour, and then she gets a little bit lighter for Days of Future Past, and she's a little bit lighter for Apocalypse, and now she's literally like pale blue, and I'm like, you look awful.
So she's just dead in the next one.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I think that the reason it is obviously they're probably going to do the same thing as Last Stand is because obviously the Dark Phoenix arc that they're using is obviously quite a common one, which is obviously they will try to take her on, but she's like, goodbye. She is literally a walking Infinity Gauntlet when she kicks off, so, you know. But I guess we'll have to talk about that at some point as well.
Another day.
Yes. So
See,
yeah.
this was a whirlwind. I still haven't quite gathered my thoughts.
Yeah, there may be a in retrospect in like, I mean, I never say these things.
We'll do a quick 10 minutes at the start of the next podcast just to recover our brain.
Yeah, did we love it as much as we did? Maybe we're just blinded by the pure spectacle.
I don't know if I was like, I think it probably exceeded my expectations, but I'm not saying like massively, but like it did. Always knew it was going to be amazing. So, but I don't know.
Okay, so
I'm not very good at
final
spotting.
words. I think. I mean, I'll start. I think just a very fitting end to what has been a very long journey.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it says some new things, but it wraps it up incredibly well, and it's incredibly satisfying. I think is the best way to describe it, personally. But that was my way.
I enjoyed the whole experience. Seeing both of those films back to back. I've not seen like Infinity War since we watched it in the cinema, so that was good.
Really? I don't know.
Yeah.
Even
so
I've seen it since
I
then.
mean, I bought it on Blu-ray and just never watched it again. Got to see the part I missed when I went to the toilet last time when he gets his eye back. So because I came back in and went to Harry, it was like, oh, he's got two eyes now. I was like, yeah, Rocket gave him his eye back. So okay,
Oh,
and
yeah,
then
I
watched the
remember.
rest of the film, and then I was like, but yeah, so that was the first time I saw that, and being able to skip the toilet queues because I was wearing a suit so I could sneak into the casino. That is the highlight because it is the sneakiest I've ever been. And so now I'm gonna shave my head and be a hitman and just fucking own this bitch.
Jesus.
Amazing. And come on, Vicky, shut it down for us.
It was good. It was good farewell for the characters and for the actors, and I can't wait to see Chris Evans do more directing things, which is the direction he's going now. He's gonna step away from acting.
Word.
Yeah.
Until they're like, hey, we've got this idea for a new Avengers film called Secret Wars. You
No,
want to
he
come back
won't.
on time?
I don't think he will. I think he's had to stay. He's getting old. I mean,
They all are.
He's
Yeah.
in his 30s, though, isn't he? Or...
yeah, but he can't.
I reckon he should go for like a Top Gear job just to confuse things even more.
Fucking hell, no.
Right.
You must remain pure.
It's very late.
Yes. Thank you for joining us.
Fairly well.
Fairly well. We'll see you next time. And to the guys that showed up 12 hours too early for your film, I'm so sorry.
But enjoy, because it's on in
Yeah.
7 hours for you.
We should end this with a beautiful little click, and this just cut to black.
I can't click.
Wait for it. Wait for it.